I'm so nervous. Welcome to my very first YouTube video. My name is Emily. My handle on TikTok and Instagram, etc. is mfunsbooks, and I read a lot of silly little romance books. I've been an avid romance book lover since I was like 10. Definitely way too young to be reading some of the books that I was. Honestly, I've always wanted to join like the booktube, book talk community, but quite frankly, it's terrifying to sit and record yourself talking to a camera and then put it on the internet for everybody to see. So we're conquering that fear today. This channel is just gonna have like a little bit of everything, really candid reactions and reviews and recommendations. So if any of that interests you, you know the drill. Please subscribe. Today for my first video, I thought I would kick it off with a bang. There's this series that I've heard so much about. Some of my best friends love this series to death. One of my best friends has a line from this book tattooed on her body, and that is the Magnolia Parks universe. I have so much FOMO from the series, it's not even funny. So I'm gonna be doing like a full series reading vlog. It's gonna be a little bit spoilery, I think. How many loves do you get in a lifetime? She is a beautiful, self-involved, and mildly neurotic London socialite. He is Britain's most photographed bad boy who broke her heart. But Magnolia Parks and BJ Valentine are meant to be, aren't they? From what I've heard, it is like a Gossip Girl type series, but like set in London, which I think is very intriguing. I actually, hot take, never watched Gossip Girl. I was a Vampire Diaries girl. I could recite that series front and back, every single word. But Gossip Girl, I never really got into. So we're gonna see if this book is up my alley, and even if it isn't, I'm gonna push through and I'm gonna read this series because I need to know what the hype is about. So without further ado, let's get into it. One important thing that I have heard about this series though is not to go into it expecting your classic happy ending romance. I've heard that it's an insanely toxic relationship and that the characters are like make you want to put your fist through a wall sometimes. So I'm gonna try to go in with as low expectations as I possibly can, especially into this first book, to try and avoid disappointment. It's a great life motto. Set your standards down here so that nobody ever disappoints you. Oh. She dates other people to keep him at bay. He sleeps with other girls to get back at her for it. But at the end of their every sad endeavor to get over one another, it's still each other they crawl back to. Only now their dysfunction is catching up with them, pulling at their seams and fraying the world they've built, a world where neither has ever let the other go completely. As the cracks start to show and secrets begin to surface, Magnolia and BJ are finally forced to face the formidable question they've been avoiding all their lives. How many loves do you really get in a lifetime? Oh, I didn't realize, like, she literally is dating other people and he is, like, sleeping with other girls to get back at her. That's giving me some flashbacks. That's what that's doing. A sneaking suspicion that I'm gonna be highlighting way too much. Oh my god. This writing is insane. We're on the first page of this book, and there's already a metaphor that says, because loving something how you love him is a painful love that puts rocks in your pockets and melancholy in your eyeballs, and if time has taught you anything, it's that it doesn't matter. You'll love him forever anyway. Yeah, this might wreck me. Like, it might. So it is now nighttime. I'm only 30 pages in, but so far what I am picking up from like the 30 pages that I have read is that we are in for an absolute clusterfuck of a toxic relationship. Oh my god. I know that that's what the book is about. I'm gonna have to get it through my head. That's the expectation I went into it with. I have a hunch that I'm not going to like either of these two. Like, I don't think they're supposed to be likable main characters. I'm really intrigued about the side characters. Their friendship group name is the box set, which I think is actually adorable. Like, the book nerd in me is screaming at that. The metaphors and the writing style in this are... So we're just gonna ride this out, and I will keep you guys updated. I literally feel like I'm reading like Junie B. Jones, but for rich adults. Like, that's the closest analogy I can think of. It feels like I'm reading a diary. I will say, I am very intrigued by this Christian guy that Magnolia seems to have had a previous fling for. She said it was hard for her, harder for BJ, and really hard for Christian, which is just like what happened? I'm intrigued. Also, BJ and Magnolia seem to have been so in love. Like, literally what could have happened to push them this far apart? I'm confused. I'm loving the book. I'm on page 112. That's all I was able to get in. However, we've met Tom England. I love him. If I were Magnolia, I would be saying absolutely see you later to Mr. Blowjob Valentine. They were almost happy for like approximately 30 seconds, and then of course BJ f***ed up. Usually I hate when they introduce another love interest just for the sole purpose of like creating tension between the two main love interests, but I do love Tom England. I would be all over this man. Like, he is the most eligible bachelor in the country, pretty much, except for maybe BJ. But like, f*** that. You know what I mean? In terms of side characters, Bridget, Magnolia's sister, is so far the only one in the book with a brain, which I love. She folds her arms over her chest. You have sex with other people and tell her, because when you do, it makes her sad, and her being sad about that validates your feelings for her. She still cares. She wouldn't be sad otherwise. She's sad that I'm sleeping with other people. It must be because she still has feelings for me. You do it to feel close to her. I scowl at her, equal parts annoyed and confronted. I don't need a psychology lecture, Bridge. No, Beej. She gives me a pointed look. You need a therapist. Yeah, she's a queen. Oh, and we met Daisy. We met Daisy Haites, who actually is sick. Like, she was such a to Magnolia, which has never happened to her in her entire life, and I think that she really, really needed that humbling experience. I'm very, very excited for Daisy and Christian's book. Let's hope tonight. I want to get over halfway through. We're on page 112. We only need like this much before we're halfway. We're gonna gun for it. It is genuinely so difficult to not hate Magnolia when she says shit like this. Wasn't expecting company, but mercifully, I tend to look fantastic. I wake quite well. I believe it's a combination of the amount of alcohol I consume preserving me, as well as living a fairly stress-free life that requires little to no manual labor. Listen, I know that that's her character. I know. But I actually want to punch her in the face when she says things like that. I can't say that I would think differently if I were in her position. Obviously, I don't think that I would. I just, it's hard to empathize. It's really hard to relate. There's nothing like just chugging a cup of Neocitran and then passing out like a rock. Holy sh**. What just happened? It's grabbed me. Consider me hooked. My jaw hit the floor. Mars and Magnolia's dad? Oh my god. Heartbreaking, dude. Like, the way that she found out, that is awful. Like, the fact that Mars is like the reason that Magnolia and BJ have become so royally Mars isn't the reason, like, they're the reason. Mars was that one voice that Magnolia trusted that told her that BJ's never gonna change. This little devil on her shoulder all these years that she's pushed BJ away was Mars's voice, who was sleeping with her dad the entire time. Like, the scream that I scrumped when I read that last night. The fact that her sister knew and didn't tell her because she's like, you wouldn't have handled it well. How about like, don't do that. How about let's not do that? Like, obviously she's not gonna handle it well. Your nanny is fucking your dad. I really just want her to have a therapist at some point in her life. I think that would be great for her. Anyways, besides that bomb dropping, I'm still on the Tom England train. I like the little like jealous, protective moments between him, BJ, and Magnolia. Call me a toxic mofo, but BJ, you're a dumbass. I think that the only redeeming quality about him is how much he loves Magnolia. Like, he is down so bad for her. He has no idea how to show it. He desperately needs to do some soul searching, but he loves her. Nobody can deny that. That is the only redeeming quality about this couple and that character, truly. If this wasn't dual POV, I would hate him. I don't love him, but I would really hate him if it wasn't dual POV. Also, just Magnolia's friend group, the box set, the full box set, rubbing me the wrong way. My spidey senses are tingling. They're hiding something. I don't know, like Paley rubs me the wrong way. I don't want to be so bold as to make assumptions, but right here, look at right here. this is what really made my spidey senses tingle about her, okay? I go to Paley's room after that and cry in her bed for a couple of hours. She cries with me. She's such a good friend, patient. She's one of those people who are so good at caring about the things the people they love care about. She cried with me the night BJ cheated on me. She cried with me the night I started dating Reed. She's been here for all of it. She doesn't say much. But what could she say anyway? I don't know why, but the fact that BJ isn't telling her who he actually cheated with, and the fact that he won't give her anything. He literally will continue to destroy their budding relationship because he won't tell her anything. Like, what if it's her best friend? Maybe I'm gonna like actually just laugh at myself when this is done and want to kick myself in the teeth for even thinking that. But like, my spidey senses are tingling and I don't like it. Could that... I'm gonna run with it. That's my running theory. We are really, really going to try to finish this today. I think I can do it. My little cousins are coming over, so I gotta go cook them some craft dinner and just count down the minutes until I can start reading again. We're gonna touch base when I'm done, so. I literally the past like 3 days or something have had the plague. Genuinely, I feel like I've been hit by like 3 semi-trucks. This is the first day that I've been able to even form like a coherent thought or like string a sentence together. My brain is solely running on like so much Tylenol, cold and sinus, and like 1 operating brain cell. So that's just kind of where we're at today, unfortunately. But you know what? I finished. I think I rate this one like 4.25 or 4.5 maybe. I can't give it a 5-star just because it feels like there's like something missing. It felt like a first book in a series. It felt like, you know, it's gonna build from here and it's gonna get better from here, but it wasn't quite a 5-star read. What I will say is I am like a tiny bit proud of myself for guessing that plot twist at the end. I'm not somebody who like does that often. If there's some big mystery or plot point to unravel, I'm not somebody who like guesses it ever. However, I did it. I knew she was a snake. I knew she was a snake. With a name like Paley, how can you not be a snake? I also just kind of pride myself on the fact that I can sniff out like of a friend from a mile away. That was a doozy. The fact that I guessed it didn't decrease from like the shock factor of it happening. They had just finally like gotten back together again. They were kind of happy. They were right on the road back to like the old BJ and Magnolia, and then boom. Boom. I do feel like the Christian thing came a little bit out of left field. I don't know why. Like maybe I should have seen that coming, but it just felt like a little bit of like dumping at the end there. Like they were like, oh, this is gonna go wrong. Oh, this is gonna go wrong. Oh, by the way, I'm still in love with you. Like, what do you mean? I know I'm gonna get more insight into it in Daisy Hates because Christian's POV is in that one, but it just felt odd to me. It just felt a little bit extra. I was like, oh no, you know, poor guy, like poor little buddy. I really was rooting for Tom and Magnolia to work. I knew that they weren't. I feel like this series is gonna be painful because the love interest that Magnolia has along the way to like eventually reuniting with BJ are good. Like they're gonna be good. I know. If Tom was just the first one, he was so good. He was so good. BJ Ballantyne, I hate to love you. The audacity of this man, this part right here when they're having their like big public fight. Yeah, I'm a fuck up, Parks. I know I am. I can stand here and tell you all the ways I've put us in the ground, but it wasn't all me. I give her a look. I didn't make you run to Christian. I didn't make you run to Tom. I didn't make you run to any of your fucking playthings that you dangle in front of me to make me jealous. Did he take like a gaslighting 101 course though? Because what the f***? Literally what the f***? He f***ed her best friend when they were so in love. They were so in love and he f***ed her in a bathtub at a party. Like, sir, where do these men get the audacity to behave this way? Truly, I will never understand. There's no valid reason why he cheated on her. He just cheated on her. Maybe we'll find out more. I hope we find out more. But I was expecting there to be some big thing. Not that it's justifiable, but like I was expecting her to try and kind of justify it a little bit. I think that's part of the reason that I didn't rate it 5 stars too, because I was like, what do you mean? Anyways, beautiful writing. I loved it. I did love feeling like I was reading their diary. Like I loved that like stream of consciousness style of writing. I loved being inside their mind. It's a very interesting, neurotic, self-absorbed place to be. And it was a good time. I will say my obsession with Tom England ended at Julian Haites' 30th birthday party. What do you mean? A hot gang lord took you home and let you watch TV with him and comforted you while you cried over your boyfriend after you guys had like a hot makeout session in a cab. I am so excited to see more of Julian. I already know him and Magnolia are going to be some sort of epic couple. Tom fell short because he was a bit boring. He was a really nice guy. He was obviously a better option than BJ, but he was a bit boring. So I really think Julian is going to just fill that gap, and I'm so excited for more of him. I think we get his POV in Daisy Haites. I don't know how I feel about Christian. Hopefully he redeems himself somewhat in this book. Anyways, without further ado, I'm not going to waste any time. I've already wasted enough time at being hit with the plague and every other chaotic thing that's happened in my life since I started this vlog. We're going to start Daisy Haites. One microtrope that I will just always love is when these men that have never learned how to process their emotions like a girl, but they won't admit that they like her. Like Christian in this scene, he's like, I frown and I get a pang of jealousy. Weird. My chest goes tight for a second. Weird. Like they just can't admit to themselves that they have feelings for this girl. So they're like, whoa, I'm going into cardiac arrest over seeing her with somebody else. Weird. Don't know what that is. Maybe I have to see a doctor. Or just like, you know, give your head a shake. Oh, Daisy and Christian. I fear I am falling for another doomed toxic couple already, and we're only 40 pages in. Oh no. Update! We are having some mysterious text messages with this number that's not saved as a contact between who I'm assuming is Julian and Miss Magnolia. I need them. Please. Biblically, I need them. This part, she goes, ha, haven't you heard? I'm always seeing someone new. And he goes, when are you going to see me then? Good night, Julian. Please, I'm gnawing at the iron bars of my enclosure. I need them. I know they're not going to be endgame, but I need them anyway. Hey, don't lick my book. Stop when you go back to the play. Because that too is crap. Your compliment and you won't immediately reply, but the voice is being at the time. Do you want in? Oh, just Alright, day 6. Is it day 6? We're gonna roll with day 6 of this reading vlog. And I did it. I finished Daisy Haites. I actually did rip through this one because I've been disgustingly ill and I've had all the time in the world. So let's get into it. I'll give you my thoughts. Daisy Haites. You know, I think I give this one 4 stars. I honestly think I rate it a little bit lower than Magnolia Parks. I don't know, like, why. I just was more invested in Magnolia Parks. I just feel like there was so much potential for so many, like, crazy plot points to be explored, and, like, they're all so surface level at this point in the series. I was so excited to keep going after the ending of Magnolia Parks. Like, I was definitely hooked after that. Who knows what's gonna happen with BJ? Who knows what's gonna happen with Julian, with Tom? And then you have to, like, take a step back in time for Daisy Haites. And I think that that just really sucked the wind out of my sails. And I have been known to have an absolute attention span. Maybe that, like, lack of momentum for me is why I wasn't as invested in this book, because at the beginning, I was like, ugh, like, I gotta read about the same shit that just happened in Magnolia Parks, but from a different POV. Like, it feels like reality TV. And I hate reality TV.
I just feel like for 2 books into a series, everything still feels so surface level. Like, tell me why Jonah, one of the main characters, Christian's brother, BJ and Julian's best friend, tell me why he's been in 2 full books and he still has the personality of a cardboard box. Like, he said like 6 lines. You know? I just feel like there are so many crazy plot points. Like, they are literally talking about human and child trafficking, and I'm still kind of like, the stakes just feel very low at this point in the story, which I don't love. Like, usually after book 2, your interest in it should be elevated, and it is, but I just feel like maybe my expectations were so high because people die for this series. I don't get it yet. Like, I get it, but I don't get it yet. I haven't experienced that level of just emotional destruction that I went in thinking I was gonna get. A bit underwhelming. That's a good word. It's a bit underwhelming so far. As for my thoughts on the actual characters by the end of this book, Christian really did redeem himself a lot in my eyes. I think so far in this series, he's the only one that has shown like an inkling of character development. Julian is still my number 1, despite some questionable decisions he has made recently. I still love him. Call me colorblind, but the red flags are just not red flagging to me right now. I understand where Daisy's coming from. I would also be pissed if I found out my brother was kidnapping children, but where does she think she's gonna go? You know that you can't run anywhere. Like, for the rest of your life, these syndicates are gonna like come for you to get revenge on Julian. So I just don't really understand that. I think she's having her like rebellious rich girl phase where she runs away kind of vibes. But anyways, I am excited for book 2. I'm sad for them. Obviously, they were doing so well, her and Christian. I knew something was gonna go wrong. It was almost a bit underwhelming, like compared to the end of Magnolia Parks, where Magnolia finds out BJ like banged her best friend in a bathtub. Obviously, that was a little bit more damaging to the couple than what happened in this. Like, there's still a lot of potential for them to get together after this book. So yeah, I'm just kind of feeling like, I'm like, yeah, that was good, but like, okay, next. I've heard that, you know, it really starts to just get real in The Long Way Home. Maybe I need to just hold out hope for the later books in the series. I don't want you to think I don't like it. I do like it. It's just not like, whoa, crazy best series I've ever read. We're diving into The Long Way Home today, so
No shot. I was sitting here venting about how much I hate BJ because there was no justification for what he was doing. No reason why he had to bang her best friend. No reason why he had to sleep with all these girls and rub it in her face. I feel like a fool. Oh my god. Are you actually kidding me right now? I am 55 pages into this book and already it's better than the first 2 combined. That's so heartbreaking. That made what happened less bad in my head, I think. If I wanted to have sex with other people, if it was on my terms, under my control, I don't know. It was never about you. That's all I'm trying to say. I just wanted you to know that. Yet again, in literature, we are made to see the benefits of men attending therapy. I'm angry at myself. I'm angry at past Emily. What a fool. What a fool. This is like the biggest I told you so moment in the history of I told you so moments. My eyes trace the tree, find our initials carved into it. All 3 of ours. No. No. I have goosebumps. I wish I could show you my goosebumps on my arms. No. No. This is only 20 pages after we found out what happened to Beach. Oh my god. And then my eyes fall down the trunk to the stone we laid to remember. Nope. You thought that you would wait 2 full books to drop this on me, Jessa? And then my eyes fall down the trunk to the stone we lay to remember the tiny baby girl we lost that no one even knows we had. And there are magnolias laying there, and I know he was here. Manuel. I asked for it. I said, I need more. Give me the juice. Give me the, you know, all this craziness that everybody says this series has. Fuck. I guess we're in for it now. We're in the thick of it. I hope this is the thick of it. What if this is just the beginning? Also, for a sec here, can we just talk about the way that BJ thinks about parks? I'd let the whole world down to keep Magnolia afloat if I had to. It's one line, but it's like, are you kidding me right now with this? I think this is the reason that I was so much more invested in Magnolia Parks than Daisy Haites, because don't get me wrong, I love Daisy and Christian, but there's just something about BJ and Magnolia that's just like ingrained into my soul. It's never been so obvious that 2 people were destined to be together as it is with these 2. The way that she talks about him, I'll wear it like a badge of honor forever that he loved me first, that he loved me at all. Have you ever had a love like that? I always felt like the luckiest girl in the world to have his eyes on me, his hands on me, and his mouth. I love that mouth. Do you mind? Way to ruin the moment. I am #1 member of the Tora Sachs fan club. Like, genuinely, I think she might be one of my favorite characters in this series right now. The fact that she wouldn't tell Magnolia that it wasn't her that Beach cheated on her with because she didn't want her to lose her best friend and her boyfriend in one fell swoop. A queen. A queen amongst snakes. That is what Tora Sachs is, and I love her. Mr. Jonah Hems has a personality. He does. He has a personality. It's been hiding for 2 full books, but it's here now. And he's hilarious. We're gonna reconvene when she's off her zoomies. One thing about me, do I support women's rights? Yes, of course. But more importantly, I support women's wrongs. I don't even think what she's doing here is wrong. On page 276, the full body goosebump sensation I got when BJ and Jonah were talking at the New Year's party, and Jonah goes, yeah, you sleeping with Jordan, that was Pearl Harbor to Parks. Get ready for Hiroshima. Instantly, I knew what she was gonna pull, and oh my god, she literally could not have picked a better revenge plot. Tell me why I'm living for the drama now. In book 1, I was like, ugh. In this book, I'm like, yeah, get him, get his ass. Sorry. Imagine the feeling that you would get of superiority coming out of Julian Haites' bedroom on New Year's Eve to see BJ with his new Australian girlfriend standing there. She's a queen. She is simply a queen. Julian, obviously I'm in love with him. So be prepared to be sick of me. I am in love with him. This is so good. The way that Julian is like the one guy in the whole country that BJ would think twice about like fighting over her too. Chef's kiss. Chef's kiss. Julian cruises after her, cool as a cucumber, pauses in front of me, squints, cocks a smile, reaches over, closes my open mouth, smacks me on the face twice, technically playful, technically hard,
Happy New Year, bruv. Gives me a shit-eating grin. My jaw goes tight. Anyone else on the f***ing planet, and I'd kill them on the spot. But him, he might actually kill me back. I actually am down so bad I'm in hell. I'm gonna need a few business days to recover from that interaction. Wow. Wow. I have this much to go. I think I can do it. I've been really slow because of my sickness. This reading vlog has been absolutely chaotic and all over the place, but it's my first YouTube video, so it's fine, right? Bear with me, please. It'll get better.
My faith is shaking, but I gotta keep trying. Gotta keep my head held high. Be another mountain. I'm always gonna wanna make it move. Always gonna be an uphill battle.
Okay, what's next on the Quay? No.
I was gonna play it like on my car speakers.
See what's on the day list?
No, like I was gonna play it like on like my car speakers.
Sleepy Weepy on a Friday evening.
Maddie, pause it. Can I start my car? We could play the music on the car speakers?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a good idea.
I say leave, but all I really want is you. To stand outside my window, throwing pebbles, screaming, I'm in love with you. All I need is on the other side of the door, with your face and the beautiful eyes, and the conversation with the little white lies, and the painted picture of a beautiful night. You carried me up the stairs, and I broke down crying, wishing what this mess. After everything in that little black dress, after everything, I must confess I need you.
I'm stressed. I know that there's something coming. There's no inkling of what's gonna go wrong. You know? I'm not ready for my heart to be ripped out of my chest. So, Julian and Magnolia? How am I supposed to not root for them just a little bit? Jessa, you're really gonna write about them that way when we know they are an endgame? Julian, I just want to give you a hug. He gives me a small smile. In another life, I reckon I could have loved you. I tilt my head, looking up at him. In another life, I would have let you. Help. It's like you want to root for them because BJ and Magnolia are so toxic, right? But then Magnolia drops lines like this about BJ. My heart cracks open a bit with how much I love him, like daylight breaking through a boarded up window. I'm stressed. I've never been torn so in two as I am like going back and forth between these two couples. I am a punching bag. I am their punching bag. They are just beating me to a pulp. Anyway. Do you guys like my really aesthetic heating pad? I have period cramps sent from hell today. So the Squishmallow is an absolute necessity for reading, might I add. No. Julian! You were doing so well. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Tell me why I'm more upset about this. Like, I'm more upset that Julian did this than I am about the fact that he, like, genuinely is a criminal. I don't know what that says about me, but here we are. I was saying in the last two books, you know, I need the juice, I need the drama a little bit more. I found it. I am going to hurt so bad when I have to read this from Julian's POV in the next Daisy Hates. Fuck. I have less than 100 pages left in this book, and BJ just kissed her and said, end it with him. And she said, okay.
This is exactly what happened with Mr. Tom England at the end of Magnolia Parks, and then they were very happy together for a solid 2 chapters, and then we know what happened. We know what happened. I genuinely don't know what's gonna happen this time. I don't know. Oh. He did it for her and BJ? No. See you, Tiggs. Finally, BJ does something emotionally intelligent. I've decided that I'm going to gaslight myself into just thinking that this is gonna have a happy ending. BJ and Magnolia are just gonna spend the entirety of Into the Dark being happy and in love. Because we deserve it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Oh! That's how I feel right now. That about sums it up. Excuse me. You're on top of all my highlighters. Bridget and Magnolia's dynamic actually brings me so much joy. Like, I absolutely adore them. If you would have told me that I would have felt this strongly about this book a couple days ago, I would have said, that's funny. No chance. I am so happy that Magnolia and Daisy have formed this, like, stupid, reluctant friendship. Like, they're so opposite and hilarious together. I actually just love how Magnolia is so delusional and Daisy just doesn't, like, let it happen for a second. Like, only Daisy would look at Magnolia and say, there's not one calming thing about you. You're obsessive and infuriating and weird. I love her. God, my highlighters are gonna run out of ink. All those nights I stayed awake pouring through my mind trying to guess who it was, me laying on your lap and crying about what he did to me and you did it to me too. I genuinely, like, can't even imagine that level of betrayal from a best friend. Obviously, it's so awful that, like, BJ did it, but now we know his, like, reasoning or, like, justification. But Paley, like, I think that the best friend would hurt more. His cool eyes are like a cold compress on my busy, curiously masochistic mind. That is a line, Jessa. Oh my god. Oh my god. BJ! Bridget really is their personal therapist. Like, what a queen. Oh my god. BJ is her emergency contact. Stop. That memory montage that the two of them had about each other, obviously hella sad, but thank God Bridget's okay. Because instantly, that is what I thought was gonna go wrong, and I can't deal with that. Thank God. Okay, 20 pages left to go. What the fuck just happened? She just died? I'm in denial. I don't think it's hit me. Through all the ways our parents failed us, my sister did not. My sister is the lace trimming around all of it, and I'm watching my fiancé do his absolute and undeniable best to give my sister breath again. But he can't. She's already gone. Oh my god. I need a sec to just process. I'll be back with my review later. I've had time to recuperate and process the ending of this. As an older sister, that shit hurted. I can't rate a book that managed to evoke this many emotions in me less than 5 stars. This was a goddamn roller coaster. There would be a page where I was giggling and kicking my feet, and then the next page I was tempted to punch a hole in my wall in a fit of anger, and then the page after that I was sobbing. What Jessa Hastings has managed to do and how these characters have managed to ingrain themselves into my bloodstream, like BJ, Magnolia, and Julian, and Christian, and Tora, and literally just everyone. Henry. I am in love with all of them. I don't care about any of their flaws. I see them and I accept them and I love them anyways, which is just a crazy arc for me from the beginning of this series, because I started the series off thinking that they were all just a bunch of delusional narcissists that I had nothing in common with. And like, it's true, like my best friend can't just fly me to Paris when I'm sad, which is unfortunate. I don't have that much in common with them, but at the same time I do. Like, I relate to them on these weird levels and it's just, they're so fascinating. Like, they are ingrained. I know that I said I was hooked after book 1 and 2. I didn't actually fully mean it until this. This had everything that book 1 and 2 were lacking for me. In the first 10%, like the first 10% of this book had everything that I was missing. And the amount of annotations in this, crazy, way leagues above Magnolia Parks and Daisy Hates 1 and 2. Truly, I don't have words. This was beautifully written, 100 out of 10 on the writing, the characters, 10 out of 10. We got so much more backstory and so much more depth and exactly what I was lacking in those first 2 books. Like, it is so worth it for me to get to this one, and I'm only on book 3 out of 5. Truly, every ounce of toxicity and miscommunication and just awfulness was worth it to get to this point. He laughed, and for some reason it sounded like the doorbell of the home I grew up in. That quote will stick with me for so long. There are so many passages in this book that I would get tattooed on my body. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Nellie, what do you think? It's the great undoing of my heart as I know it. Good. So, sounds like it's gonna be a good, happy time. Fuck. Daisy Hates thought she'd left everything about her old life in the past, the crime, her family, and the men she loves. But when her safety is threatened once again, she finds herself back under the watchful eyes of her gang lord brother Julian and her ex-boyfriend Christian, both desperate to keep her safe. Everything gets more complicated when beautiful, broken-hearted socialite Magnolia Parks enters the scene, and Julian finds himself entangled with her. Because for Julian, falling in love isn't just unwelcome, it could be deadly for everyone involved. Sign me up. I don't care. I'll be in love with you. But daddy, I love him. I think one other thing that's crazy is the fact that if there's one thing I've learned throughout these books, it's that it is Magnolia Parks' universe and we're all just living in it. I hated her. I hated her with a burning passion when this series started. And now, like, I wish she was my best friend. Like, every time she drops one of those narcissistic, delusional one-liners of hers, I'm like, I love you. She's managed to build this character arc for Magnolia without anything significant even really, like, happening. She genuinely just has, like, wormed herself into my heart. I'm wrapped around her little finger like every other man in Britain. Oh my god, I forgot that Tiller existed. I am genuinely not a functioning human being without at least a significant dose of caffeine in my system, so I'm on page 267 of Daisy Hates the Great Undoing. All I can say so far is that I'm in pain. Reading about how much Julian loves Magnolia from Julian's perspective is so tough. Like, The Long Way Home was such a BJ Magnolia book. Like, it was very obvious that just BJ is all Magnolia sees. That's always been obvious. But now, actually having to read the POV of another man that's in love with her and having to witness the BJ Magnolia show, like, Julian, you deserve the world, my love. The things that I would let that man do to me, don't even get me started. Other than that, Daisy and Christian, adorable as always. I love them. I love them. I am a little bit scared. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm getting a bit scared. I'm like 70% of the way through, and I just found out that they're related to the McMathens, which is definitely like a bit of a curveball.
I'm having a good time. So far, it's definitely giving a 5-star read. It's definitely giving 5 stars. I just am really terrified for the ending of this book. And I know that Daisy and Christian don't have a happy ending in this one, despite how absolutely insanely adorable they are. Their interactions are so wholesome and they're actually communicating with each other, and Daisy and Magnolia are friends. Like, it's all just going too well, besides the fact that my boy Julian is just getting his heart stomped on. I know that shit's gonna hit the fan and I know that it's coming soon, so we're hopefully gonna finish this today. I'll keep you posted. I'll be back as soon as I'm nearing the end. Please wish me luck. No, because this quote from Julian's POV, I'm going to throw up. In another life, I reckon I could have loved you. I tell her. She gives me a little smile back. In another life, I would have let you. Never you mind that I already love her in this one. I'm a gang lord. His mouth shrugs as he shakes his head. This dies with me, remember? He does deserve to be loved. I would love him. I volunteer as tribute. Just putting that out there. The scene where Magnolia walks into the gang lord meeting and just shamelessly recommends these like criminal men types of pants they should be wearing. I have never ever read about a character as delusional as her. I genuinely don't understand why I love her the way that I do. Like, all right, I've got 20 pages left. So far we're at peak wholesome. Peak wholesome. This time, unlike The Long Way Home, I am not gaslighting myself into thinking that this isn't going to end very badly for me mentally and emotionally. Let's get into it. I'm really finally understanding the hype about this like found family feeling you get when you read these books. I just read the scene where Magnolia like absolutely serves Vanna about the sex tape, and I just am so obsessed with all of them. Oh my god. Not Barnsey? What does she get out of throwing us for a loop like this? This emotional whiplash is actually insane. This is... He saw the accident happen. I lose everyone all the time. I lose people like a tree loses its leaves in autumn. I'm marred by it. It's the thing that shaped me most, my distinctive characteristic. Some people have freckles sprinkled on their noses, other people have eyes clear like water, or hair that's the color of the night. But me, my unique feature is that I lose everyone, and everyone loses me. Daisy. Not him crying on his dad. I actually can't. They had to sedate him because he was that upset? Poor Christian. Oh. Like, I'm gonna think on it for my review, but there is absolutely zero doubt in my mind whatsoever that this was 5 stars. The fact that she started this book finally like living a normal life like she's wanted to, but missing Christian, and then at the end of the book she was about to go and live a normal life with Christian, but then her stupid fucking gang lord life took her away. It's so tragically poetic. All right, I've had time to process. I'm ready to give the review. Easy 5 stars. I think that the themes of like found family and friendship and romantic love and all those different kinds of relationships played a very prevalent role in this book compared to the other ones. This book did a really good job of filling in a lot of the blanks that Long Way Home left us with. In Long Way Home, it was like very plot driven and you're kind of experiencing everything that's happening for the very first time. And then in this book, it really delves into like more. And Julian's POV
killed me. Like, there is something so painful about watching a character that you love fall in love with someone else for like literally the first time in his entire life, but she's in love with someone else. It was soul crushing. It felt like I was watching this book happen through a window, and I was watching this like idealistic perfect life play out, like with the dynamic double duo with Christian and Daisy and Julian and Magnolia, and just I knew it was going to be ripped away from me, and that shit hurted. It hurt to read, but it was also so good. I think the tough part about Daisy Haites books, since they happen on the same timeline as the Magnolia Parks books, is that you know what's coming at the very end of it, but you're still so strapped in and along for the ride and like trying desperately to convince yourself that it's not going to be as bad as you think it is. And it always is. Really everything that I needed from this book it gave. I was not expecting to love Julian and Magnolia as much as I did. I think Magnolia's character development in this book was immaculate. Like, I loved her after Long Way Home. I said that multiple times, but I really love her after this book. The way that she just like dressed Daisy all the time and like inserted herself into her calendar. And I know she's a people pleaser, and I know her goal is to like make people like her, but just the way that their friendship bloomed and developed over the course of the book, and the fact that Julian and Magnolia ended and could still like be on decent terms, like despite the fact that Julian was cripplingly in love with her, it just was so good. The fact that we have to wait and there's not even any inklings about the next Daisy Haites book. Kill me, please, please kill me. The way that Julian compared Magnolia to art, and the way that Daisy compared Christian to it, and even just their little text conversations. I'm actually like not prepared for Into the Dark. I'm going to be in pain. I'm going to struggle with this one. So let's get into it. I'm only at the dedication, the author dedication, and I'm already unwell. This is going to hurt. This is going to hurt so bad. I'm 166 pages in out of like 710 or something. And I've already sobbed like 4 times easily. Like genuine, like little hiccuping, crying. In chapter 2. You know, when Jessa named this book Into the Dark, she really meant it. We are in the trenches. We are in the dark. There is no hope in sight. I am so heartbroken for these people, for Magnolia. I can't even... Her trauma right now is so bad, and she has never learned a healthy coping mechanism a day in her life. Like, it's just a mess. And I really, really am hoping that we come out of the dark by the end of this book. Please, for the love of God. I'm having a lot of fun. I put waterproof mascara on today, so we're hoping for the best. I'm probably gonna cry again. I literally have read 1 chapter since I last updated everybody. And Marjorie came on by Taylor Swift. This is so insane. I was not expecting this level of devastation. Nellie hates me right now. She hates when I cry, so it's really awkward in this room. There's just something about the way that Jessa writes, like, the most heartbreaking speeches and, like, internal monologues, and I can't do it. Ugh. Somebody sedate me. Hello everybody. There has been a slight change of plans in this reading vlog schedule. We decided to book a very impromptu trip to Mexico for spring break. And when I say impromptu, I mean like we had 2 days notice. We found a last second deal and we just sent it and booked it. So I've had 2 days to pack. I've barely been reading. I am halfway through Magnolia Parks Into the Dark right now. It's destroying me. Honestly, it's amazing. It is so amazing. It is by far the best book in the series so far, I think. I think that it is crazy the amount of insight we're getting into Magnolia's backstory, everything with her eating disorder and her parents and just like her history with BJ is so explored in depth in this book. It's actually insane. I think that it wouldn't have hit the same if Jessa hadn't had such a long buildup with all the other books going into the Dark. So I have no complaints, except for the fact that it is tearing my heart out of my chest with every single page. I'm hoping that the second half of the book is like her healing journey. Like I think this is like her trauma journey that I'm reading right now in the first half. I'm hoping that the second half, I see some light at the end of the tunnel, because right now it's genuinely tough to read. Like there honestly could have been trigger warnings at the beginning of this book and I would have understood, because like everything with her eating disorder and her parental issues and her grief is just heavy. It is heavy. It is so good, but it is heavy. But I am not going to finish in time. My flight leaves at like 9 a.m. tomorrow. We have to be at the airport for like 6:30 at the latest. And I am going to try and read as much as I can tonight, but it's not going to get finished. So I might be sobbing on the plane tomorrow and finishing it on the plane. I will try my best to try and capture my reactions, but I have a very crippling fear of recording in front of the public. So anyways, I'll check in when I'm done. We'll see how it goes.
WG5295. Again, it's WG5295. Thank you.
I finished it. I was literally fighting for my life, trying not to absolutely bawl my eyes out on the plane. We've been here for a day. If you couldn't tell by my really nice burn that I have going on, this is after reapplying sunscreen upwards of like 4 or 5 times. I'm just a naive idiot and I forgot how strong the sun is here, and I sat in the sun all day while I was reading, so that's on me. I did finish this last night, and it was literally every bit as painful as I expected it to be, as everybody told me it was gonna be. I have no words. This is most definitely by far my favorite book in the Magnolia Park series. I think this book was such an amazing depiction of just grief. Like, Jessa Hastings really outdid herself with the metaphors in this one. Literally the entire book was filled with metaphors of Magnolia's grieving process and BJ helping her through it, and just like the way that they were actually able to like deal with their relationship problems in a healthy manner for the first time in any of the books was mind-boggling. Like, I felt like I was living in an alternate universe where they finally figured things out. The insight into Magnolia's backstory and the insight into like what we learned about her parents and just why she is the way she is was absolutely remarkable in this book. Like, so I honestly want to go back and reread so many things from the first 2 Magnolia Parks books, just so that they actually made sense, because in those books I feel like I loved The Long Way Home, but there were still some things where I'm like, this feels like a plot hole, like this doesn't feel like it's very well fleshed out. And now I just know that that was fully on purpose, and I know that Jessa has a reason for literally everything, because she fully explained it all in this book, and it was so worth it. It was so worth it. This was a ride. It was a roller coaster ride of emotions. One page you would be laughing, and the next page you would be like trying not to bawl your eyes out. I don't think I have ever in my entire reading experience come across an author who has the ability to do that, has the ability to just make you go from 0 to 100 so quick. Their journey through therapy, their journey with Harley and Ari, and just, genuinely, there could not have been more of a perfect conclusion to the Magnolia and BJ storyline. This is one of my favorite books that I've ever read in my life. I have never been so anxious for a Daisy Haites book. Like, usually I finish a Magnolia Parks book and I'm like, I have to go back in time and read Daisy Haites. Like, don't get me wrong, I loved The Great Undoing, I love Daisy Haites, but usually I'm like, I just want to know what happens next, right? Because they end on such like insane cliffhangers. And this one, I literally need the next Daisy Haites book, like yesterday. I have no idea what's going on, what Daisy and Julian have gotten themselves into. I don't know what's going on with Jonah. I don't know what's going on with Christian. I'm assuming if you're this far into this vlog, like, you've read these books, hopefully. But this one is still fairly new, so I don't want to say too much about it. All I can say is that it was literally literally just a perfect depiction of the grieving process. It was heartbreaking and uplifting at the same time, in the same breath, and I just could not get enough of it. I can't even put it into words. That's all I really have to say. As a whole, I think that this series broke a lot of stereotypes for me. I think that usually I need a plot-driven book. I need a plot-driven book to stay engaged. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I have the attention span of an elderly goldfish with dementia. There's like a very minimal amount of dopamine that we have to work with. So the fact that this is basically, like, there is a plot, don't get me wrong, there is a plot, but this is very largely a character-driven story, like almost 100%. I wouldn't categorize it as a romance. I wouldn't categorize it as like a very fast-paced, you know, plot-driven series, and those are the only things that I usually like to read. So the fact that I still loved this series as much as I did is insane. The fact that I started it off not really loving it, like, I liked it a lot in the first 2 books, but I didn't love them, and usually that's like a bad indicator for a series for me. So the fact that it was able to just completely do a 180 in my mind and become one of my favorite series that I've ever read in my life, I don't know how to explain it. I have no idea what Jessa injected into these books. I don't know what kind of crack is in them, but consider me a 100% diehard Magnolia Parks Daisy Haites fan after this. Like, I'm never gonna be the same. My heart is shattered that I'm never going to get to experience being in Magnolia or BJ set again. Thank God we still have 2 Daisy Haites books to look forward to, but I'm terrified. I need Christian and Daisy to get married in the art museum. I don't care, I need it to happen yesterday. Okay, I need them to be happy together. They're just being put through the absolute ringer as a couple, and it's just, I need it. And Julian, I need him to be happy. Jessa, if you kill him, it's on sight. It is on sight if anything happens to Julian Haites, all right? Other than that, I guess we're done, which is really sad because I have been filming this reading vlog for literally a month. I haven't even started my editing yet, and I have over a month of footage. I don't know why I thought this would be a great idea for my first YouTube video, but here we are. I will forever be grateful for this series and for sticking by it and persevering and coming to this amazing conclusion. Jessa Hastings could write literally anything about these characters and I would devour it and give it 5 stars in a heartbeat. I think if I went back and I reread Magnolia Parks and Daisy Haites, I would bump their rating up to 5 stars because nobody does it like Jessa Hastings. Nobody writes like Jessa Hastings. This was unreal. This was truly an unreal experience. And I am going to miss it so much. So we're gonna end it here, okay? Bye.